Every single morning, millions of Americans wake up and do the same thing. They eat breakfast. Not because they're hungry, not because their body is asking for it, but because somewhere along the way, someone told them they had to. That skipping it would wreck their metabolism, destroy their focus, and basically sabotage the entire day. You've heard it your whole life. Your parents said it. Your doctor probably said it. It's on cereal boxes, in school cafeteria posters, in every diet plan you've ever seen. Breakfast is the most important meal of the day. But here's the question nobody seems to be asking. Who actually said that first? And more importantly, was it ever true? The phrase, breakfast is the most important meal of the day, was not written by a doctor. It was not the result of a clinical study. It appeared in a 1944 advertisement, created by Grape Nuts cereal, manufactured by a company that would eventually become General Mills. A food company told you breakfast was essential, and somehow that line got embedded into American culture so deeply that even medical professionals started repeating it without questioning the source. And when the science came along to back it up, much of it was funded by the same food industry that needed you to buy a bowl of cereal every morning. That's not a conspiracy theory. That's documented history. And once you understand that, everything you thought you knew about your morning eating habits starts to look very different. To understand what's really happening when you skip breakfast, or eat it, you have to understand what your body is already doing the moment you wake up. Here's something most people never learn. Your body has its own built-in morning energy system, and it kicks in whether you eat or not. When you wake up, your adrenal glands release a surge of cortisol. Not the stress cortisol people talk about. This is the circadian cortisol awakening response, a natural, timed biological event that raises your blood sugar, sharpens your focus, and gives you energy. Your body is literally feeding itself from the inside for the first 1 to 2 hours of your day. At the same time, a hormone called ghrelin, the one that normally makes you feel hungry, is actually suppressed in the early morning hours. Your stomach isn't growling. Your body isn't begging for food. That's not an accident. That's millions of years of biological design working exactly as intended. So what actually happens when you delay your first meal? Say, pushing breakfast back 2 or 3 hours, or skipping it entirely. In the first 24 hours of doing this, something called autophagy continues to run. Autophagy is your body's internal cleanup process. It breaks down damaged cells, recycles old proteins, and clears out cellular debris. Every night while you sleep, your body enters this state. The longer you stay in a fasted condition in the morning, the longer that cleanup process runs. Researchers at the Salk Institute and multiple university labs have found that extending the overnight fast, even by just a few hours, is associated with measurably lower inflammation markers and better metabolic function. Your body isn't starving, it's cleaning house. By the end of the first week of consistently eating your first meal later in the day, something interesting happens to your insulin sensitivity. Insulin is the hormone that moves sugar from your blood into your cells for energy. The more sensitive your cells are to insulin, the more efficiently that process works. Studies published in journals including Cell Metabolism and the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition have shown that time-restricted eating, which is essentially just delaying your first meal, can improve insulin sensitivity without any other changes to diet. Your body learns to use fuel more efficiently, not because you're eating less necessarily, because of when you're eating. After 2 weeks, many people report a shift in hunger timing. Early morning hunger, which was already low by design, often disappears almost entirely. The body recalibrates its appetite hormones to match the new eating window. Ghrelin patterns shift. People stop waking up starving because they've stopped training their bodies to expect food at 7 a.m. This isn't willpower. It's biology responding to a new schedule. By the 30-day mark, the metabolic picture becomes clearer. Multiple studies have found reductions in fasting blood glucose, lower triglycerides, and modest decreases in body weight in people who simply shifted their first meal later in the day, without counting calories, without changing what they ate. The timing itself appears to carry metabolic weight. Now let's address the arguments you've probably already thought of, because they're the same ones that have been circulating for decades. Myth 1. Skipping breakfast slows your metabolism. This idea has been studied directly. A 2019 randomized controlled trial published in the BMJ followed adults who skipped breakfast versus those who ate it, and found no meaningful difference in metabolic rate. The idea that your metabolism crashes without a morning meal is not supported by controlled research. What is supported is that the body is remarkably adaptive. It doesn't panic after 12 hours without food. Myth 2. Children need breakfast for school performance. This one is more nuanced. Some research does suggest that children in food-insecure situations benefit significantly from school breakfast programs, and that's genuinely important. But the leap from malnourished children do better with morning food to all humans must eat immediately upon waking is not scientifically justified. Context matters. Myth 3. You need breakfast to avoid muscle loss. Muscle protein breakdown is a slow process. The body does not start breaking down significant muscle tissue after a single skipped meal. Muscle loss occurs with sustained caloric deficits over days, not hours. And for people doing resistance training, the timing window for protein is far wider than the fitness industry once claimed. None of this means breakfast is bad for everyone. If you have type 1 diabetes or are on insulin-affecting medications, your doctor's guidance on meal timing takes absolute priority. Pregnant women have specific caloric and nutrient needs that may make morning eating essential. People with a history of disordered eating should approach any structured fasting with professional support. Children in active growth phases may genuinely benefit from morning nutrition, and some people simply feel better eating breakfast, mentally, physically, and practically. That is a completely valid reason to eat it. The goal here is not to make breakfast the villain. The goal is to remove the guilt from those who don't want it. Here's what the science actually supports. There is no universal rule that breakfast is the most important meal of the day. The timing of your first meal matters far less than the quality of everything you eat across the full day. Some people thrive eating in the morning. Others function better on a delayed schedule. Both can be metabolically healthy. Both can be scientifically justified. What doesn't hold up is the claim planted by a food company in 1944 that skipping your morning meal is dangerous, negligent, or metabolically destructive. That was marketing, and it worked so well that it outlasted the century. The real question isn't whether you should eat breakfast or skip it. The real question is this: are you eating in the morning because your body is asking for it, or because a cereal advertisement from 80 years ago told you that you had to? Once you separate the two, you might be surprised how differently your mornings can feel. And that, more than any meal, is where the choice actually begins.